Good morning, everybody. Stu Smith here, going live. Hope you guys are doing well. I apologize for missing yesterday, but we are in the middle of what I call the Hell Week Simulator with our local group. It's been a lot of fun. You can see some of the pictures over on Instagram. And yesterday, we lasted probably from like 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and there was no real good reception. So I could not go live without it cutting out all the time. So I did not. I skipped it. Haven't missed one of these Monday, Tuesdays in a while. But we got out early today, mainly because we were too cold. And what I mean by that is, yeah, it was 48 degrees outside and the air temperature, the water was 58 degrees. We were wet the whole time, and we lasted from 6 until about 8:30, mixing water, and we swam, we ran wet and sandy, did a lot of wet and sandy plunges, a lot of upper body PT, but in the end, it was just too chilly. And I wanted to err on the side of safety for these 20 guys that are going through this. And we wound up eating breakfast, getting warm, and we are doing a second workout and a third workout later this afternoon when everybody warms up and is ready to go. So it's a good one. It's good. Like if you're wondering what the Hell Week Simulator looks like, it's right out of this. A little bit different because we have a different facility and area. We have this 1 mile beach that is soft sand. It is cold water. It's like 58, 59 degrees right now, which is kind of perfect. If you're thinking you're going to be at Buds in the winter, and you will at some phase, you will have to get used to 58, 59 degree water because that is the typical winter temperature out there. For instance, I had a October Hell Week, so it wasn't quite winter, but also wasn't summer. So the air temperature is a little cooler, but the water temperature hadn't gotten that cold yet. It was still in the 60s, but it wasn't low 50s, mid 50s. But it was when I went through dive phase, and that was probably the coldest I've ever been, was that dive phase cycle. But what these workouts are, they're basically 3 workouts a day in this little Hell Week simulator, and most of them are purely wet and sandy. If you have that opportunity to get wet and sandy. So, but we're doing well. We're doing well out there. It's been a lot of fun. Haven't had any quitters. No one's getting hurt. And that's the key. So what I did not do in this Hell Week simulator is I did not add in, like we're on a steady running progression right now. We're probably at like 22 miles a week right now, maybe 20, 22, somewhere around there. So I didn't jump it up and go into 40 miles a week. We are still at 22 miles a week. All of it is just wet and sandy. So it's just cold. It's a little more miserable. It's some load bearing with sandbags and things like that. And it's kind of fun, to be honest with you. We have 3 boat crews of 6, one of 7, and they're getting after it. They're becoming a good team. It's the type of thing that you want to see when you put on this type of training. You want to see them getting along well together, whether they're under a log or a bunch of shared sand babies that they have to transition, sharing them with some logic. And then they just work together to keep up with some of the little tasks. I keep them up mentally. I mean, just keeping track of reps as a boat crew requires some thinking. And it's all in the middle of this really monotonous training where I'm just being very repetitive. They're getting wet. They're doing push-ups. They're doing sit-ups. They're doing pull-ups. They have to keep track of all their reps at the same time. you try to go to that happy place just to get out of it, but then this thinking part of your brain has to come on to start counting reps and doing the math and figuring out when the group is done or not. So it's been fun. It's been a fun little challenge. So Victor asks, are you doing this Hell Week simulation once a year only? You know what? I haven't put it this way. This is only my second one in probably 20 years. So I don't do them often. But it is something I will consider because I got smarter with it. And I'm not doing it like I'm spending 24 hours a day doing stuff. So we break it up with our normal workout in the morning. We eat breakfast and then we do a little something after that on a full belly, like ruck or swim or a series of bear crawls and fireman carries, things like that. And then we take a break, eat lunch. You're on your own. I get to come home, do some work. And then we do something in the afternoon for a couple of hours and call it a day. So somewhere between 2 and 3 workouts, depending on how you want to number them. Right? Take a breakfast break and work out again. Do you count that as one long workout of 3.5 hours or 2 separate workouts? I don't know. So anyway, we're a little smarter about it. It's still tough. It's a lot of volume, but I'm not trying to overdo the volume as far as running and getting those type of injuries that always occur when you just blow it up and make everybody do 40, 50 miles in a week. So we may do it more often. This is not bad. Put it this way. This is a sustainable activity that I am also enjoying. So there you go. So we usually on Tuesdays, we do some combat swimmer stroke videos, but I have no combat swimmer stroke videos to share with you, I don't think, unless I downloaded some earlier in the week. Usually I prepare myself for this. No, been busy. So I don't have any combat swimmer stroke videos to share. So we'll just answer questions today. I am writing a new program. And this is a really interesting one. Not sure how this one's going to go over, but check out this idea I have for a new book. Let's see. All right, you guys see this? So anyway, this is me. This is me at 18, and this is me, I don't know, 40, somewhere around there. Get ready to serve in the U.S. military. How to avoid the most common mistakes that keep you out of Spec Ops. Just got the idea to do something with like the 10 most common ways to fail in this journey. And it'll be done in May. It's a real quick one, kind of an easy, I shouldn't say easy. It's going to be a mix of workouts from other programs, depending on what branch of service you're from. So it'll be a kind of a unique blend of a few workouts, probably a few new ones, but most of them is, most of them are very common mistakes that we'll do. So another question about the Hell Week Simulator. How can you do this Hell Week Simulator? Well, here's the deal. I am only letting people I know do this Hell Week Simulator. Let me explain that. Like, I shut down all new guys coming this week because I wanted to be able to see them prior to this event and what they're capable of doing. So pretty much if you train with me locally, you can do this Hell Week Simulator with me locally. You can't just come in from out of town for the week and do it because I don't know you. I don't know what you're capable of handling. I'm not opening it up to new guys. So if you're here locally, you can do it with us. If you're not here locally, you can do it with yourself. Because it's the same thing that's in that program. Marriage and alcohol ruin your spec op experience. Alcohol, yes. Marriage depends on who you marry. I happen to still be married to the girl I was dating when I was going through SEAL training. And that was since 1990. So what's that? 33 years? So it can work. Let's see. Hey, Stu, I learned the combat swimmer stroke last week. I've been swimming since. What workouts do you recommend doing whilst in the pool to improve your swim? Any of my swim workouts. I mean, these have a swim workout every day. These have a swim workout every day. This has a swim workout every day. Depends on what you're using the the CSS for. This has a swim workout every day. There's a whole bunch of options. But if you're looking for something that a lot of people do, try the 50-50. Especially if you've learned the technique and now you just got to get in shape for it. So what is the 50-50, you ask? You don't know what the 50-50 you ask is? I'm going to ask you, what rock are you living under? Because this has been a probably most popular one that I've ever created. And it is very quick in helping you get a better time and get in better swimming shape. So if you check out that, you'll learn a really good swim workout whilst you're in the pool. Good idea for the book. Everyone's looking for ways to succeed, but having knowledge of avoiding mistakes that make you fail is another beneficial angle. Yeah, you know what? I will tell you this, learning from other people's mistakes is huge. I will honestly tell you, I've seen people do stupid stuff, and I'm like, I probably don't want to do that stupid stuff and avoid that side of the law altogether, or side of physical activity that puts you in the hospital, makes you get surgeries. I mean, there's a lot of stupid stuff out there that you can do that ruins your chances. A lot of them have to do with extracurricular activities. Some of them are very good for you, but some of them are very bad for you. And usually too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So you gotta add some common sense to how you're preparing for sure. And that's going to be all part of that program. I think I have 10 mistakes in that book. Would you recommend taking supplements to improve performance and build more muscle? I'm 2611. All right. Write that down again. Are you 6'11" and weigh 133 pounds? Is that correct? Because 6'11" is almost 7 feet tall, which is a monster. You could probably grab the rim sitting on the ground. I want you to fix that, because 5'11", 133, I would say, yes, you need to add some weight. 6'11", 133, oh my God. You definitely need to add some weight. There you go. So he is 5'11". Dude, that's ridiculous. Yes, you're 5'11", 133, absolutely. Put on some weight. Do you need supplements to do it? No, you don't. You just need food. What I would do is the peanut butter and jelly sandwich method, or bananas if you don't like jelly. That's what I did. Get a big glass of milk and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or peanut butter and banana sandwich. And every meal that you eat, that is a dessert for you. Before you go to bed, same deal. So do you need protein powders and all the other stuff? Sure, why not? You can add in protein powder if you want, but really you just need to work out and add some calories because that is pretty skinny. My pool's only 26 feet long. What harness do you recommend if I want to tie off on my deck? I used one, the pool bungee, I think it was called. Pool bungee. Let's see. Yep, that's it. Resistance belt pool bungee. It worked really well. You can get one on Amazon for like 24 bucks. Just type pool bungee into the Google machine and see what it comes out with. Yeah, it was a lifesaver, I think. It was really nice to be able to, swim. All our pools were closed. Man, it just sucked. But I had a backyard pool my neighbor let me use, and I just hooked up a pool bungee to it. It was good. So I'm borderline with my eyesight requirement. Do you have any tips on how to score on the test? What to do day before, etc. These are old school tips, and I'm not sure if they're actually helpful or just myth. So, but try this or test it out yourself. See if you like it. 1, be hydrated. 2, be well rested. Like close your eyes for many, many hours while you sleep, obviously, but get a good night's sleep, with rested eyes. And also don't read for a week, and definitely don't have like fluorescent lights. Fluorescent lights make you tired because I guess they flicker, but they're so minute you can't notice it. But your eyes notice it, so they make them tired. So if you're reading or doing a lot of studying or a lot of screen time, don't do it in fluorescent lighting. Do it in natural lighting. But also lay off the screen time as well. Literally rest your eyes, just like you would rest your legs prior to a big running event or, something, mountain climbing event. That's what I would do. Let's see. I think I skipped one here. How many candidates are you having in your current helmet? We have 20 of us. I ran a Broad Street last Sunday, which was 10 miles, and my times for it were 4 miles and 27 minutes. Good. 10 miles and 112. What should I try to bring my times down to? I think those are fine. I mean, you're looking at 7-minute miles for both, sub 7 for both. I think that's great. I don't think you need to bring them down much at all. But it also depends on what are you training for. If you're training for Navy SEAL program, that's fine. If you're training for a marathon, you could probably get faster. If you want to do, or a half marathon, you could get faster. But if you can do a 4 mile in under 28 minutes, that's good. Make it so where you're not a gut check at 48 minutes or 28 minutes also. But yeah, 10 mile in the 70-minute mark, that's awesome. That's really good. Being a wrestler who can swim 8 minutes as well as do a 7-minute run, that's great. Height, weight, yeah, you're a little light, but if you put on a few pounds, it wouldn't hurt you. Especially if you're super lean, that's just going to make the drown proofing skills a lot better. My advice would be to make sure you can tread, make sure you can bob and float. Work on the other pool skills, such as drown proofing and things like that. Don't tie yourself up, just simulate it. And from there, you'll be topped off pretty good. Yeah, I'm assuming your PT scores are awesome, being your wrestling background. But that looks good. I'm doing about 2 to 3 hours of zone 2 training per day. That's stupid. 5 days a week. Why are you doing it every day? Yeah, that's too much. Maybe do that once a week, or 2 to 3 hours in a week, much less a day. That's way too much running. Are you running? Okay, so you're mixing it up. That's the only smart thing you're doing. Mixing up with a swim, bike, run, because 2/3 of your cardio is non-impact. I would recommend that. But here's the problem. You're just getting good at very slow cardio. Nothing wrong with having an aerobic base, but be like Dom up here who just hit a 7-minute mile for 10 miles. Or hit a 7-minute mile for 4 miles. I would rather you see you hit, a 6-minute mile for 1.5 miles, then add in some zone 2 stuff afterwards, almost like a cool down phase. But if you're not playing around with 6-minute mile pace and 7-minute mile pace, you're probably going to fail. There was a guy not long ago who did 50, 60 miles a week of running, and he could not pass a 4-mile timed run at Bud's at 32 minutes. And he got kicked out. He just got too good at running slow and couldn't pick it up. You got to train your legs and lungs to also run a little faster. Now, if you can be in zone 2 and run a 7-minute mile, now you're talking. A lot of people can't do that, but good runners can. But yeah, you don't need to be wasting 3 hours a day, 2 to 3 hours a day running, swimming, and biking. I mean, here's the only unless. Here's the only unless that is. Unless you're a strength athlete and you're so strong that you don't need to worry about strength being a weakness. You don't have to worry about PT scores, and you're just so weak cardiovascularly that you need to put in that amount of time to get better. Put it this way. If you were a 300-pound professional football player, I would probably have you on that type of programming where you ran a little, swam a lot, and biked a lot just to lose your weight and get into some cardio endurance shape. But if you're a regular sized guy that maybe needs to be in the weight room because you can't bench press your body weight or you can't deadlift your body weight, you need to be spending a lot less time doing cardio. So there's no one answer to this, right? There's not one. Everybody doesn't need to go do this stuff. You may not need to do this. You may not need to be in the weight room. You may need to be in the weight room. You need to assess yourself on where your strengths and weaknesses are, and then figure out a program that focuses on improving your weaknesses while you're maintaining your strengths. Like if you're coming at me with this and you're an endurance athlete, I would just smack you because that's the last thing you need. You need to go get in the weight room and, do some calisthenics. I have 20/15 vision. Good. And wear 0 prescription glasses with blue light filters. Oh, okay. I got you. You're just making a comment. Great. What temperatures do you consider it safe for your guys to swim open water without wetsuits? Great question, because today I had to make a call, and yesterday I had to make a call at limiting them to 20 minutes. So yesterday it was in the 60s with the bright sun was out, and we swam for 20 minutes. in 59-degree water. Not a problem. I did it too. And then we all ate breakfast over in this area that didn't have any wind on it. It was black pavement, and we just soaked up the sun and warmed up. It was actually a lot of fun. But today it was overcast. There was no sun out. It was 48 degrees. The water temperature was 59. And I limited it to 15 minutes. And we didn't hang out outside because it was windy, kind of rainy, and just not comfortable. So everybody just cleaned up, got in their cars, turned on the heaters, and I made sure everybody was okay before we left. So it really does depend on how much time you're in that water. Like, put it this way, we were in 64-degree water. And remember, this is Fahrenheit over here in the U.S. So it wasn't that cold. So we actually swam for over 30 minutes. I think it was, anywhere between 30 and 35 minutes. We swam a mile. But today it actually got colder in the last week because it's done nothing but rain and been kind of overcast. So the water temperature got colder. So I shortened that up. So I basically just watched the water temperature, and just through years of being in 50-degree water, 60-degree water, 70-degree water, there's kind of this knowledge of, you don't need to be in much longer than 10, 15 minutes without a wetsuit. In the 50s, I'd say 20 to 30 minutes. In the 60s, and then once it's in the 70s, you probably got a good 30 or 40 minutes. But you can still get cold in 70, 80-degree water. Will a master's degree increase my chances of getting officer billet if I have a criminal record? Good question. So, no. There are many people who have master's degrees in the military and teams, if I'm assuming that's what you want to do. Criminal record depends on what branch of service. Because here's the deal. There are some branches of service that need more people than the Navy does. And Navy SEAL program has not had a problem with recruiting ever. The only problems we've had in the last year and a half, 2 years since COVID, was the invention of that medical background search that it now does through pharmaceuticals that you've been prescribed. And now the government can say, oh, you've been prescribed ADHD medication, but you never told us you had ADHD. What's up with that? Right. And that is causing a lot of people to not get accepted into the military. So in a way, even though a lot of people are trying to join, they just can't get in. A recent report I saw, can't remember where I saw it now, but anyway, this recruiter said he had 30 people wanting to serve and only one passed that military prescription search. So there's a lot of ways the military is kind of screwing itself with that one. But it's also finding a lot of people that might have bipolar disorder and been treating, psychological symptoms for years. So we got to figure out a better way for waivers on that one versus just saying you can't do it. But with a criminal record, there are waivers for it. It just may be really tough and so much more competitive with the officer route that it would be really hard to see it. Like, put it this way. Let's say your criminal record is a DUI, probably don't have a chance to get in. I don't know what else could rank less or above a DUI, but that's a big one. But you can try. might be able to enlist and then try the officer route. That may be an option for you. I just started adding 20, 30-minute swims in uniform at 11 degrees Celsius, 51 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's cold. I would probably wear a wetsuit if I'm going that long, to be honest with you. We swam at 50 degrees earlier, and we limited it to like, I think it was like 10 to 12 minutes when it was 50 degrees. But I'm also working on making it being as safe as I can. So could you go a little further into 20 minutes? Sure. But it also depends, because some of my guys aren't even shaking, and some of the skinnier, leaner guys are just like a jackhammer over there. So everybody's going to be a little bit different. What are the most effective ways to become more mature? That's a good, mature question you ask. Unfortunately, it takes time. I wish I had a better answer for you, but it just takes time. I mean, you're an 18-year-old kid. Let's face it, you're stupid. Probably a lot of your decisions are made by hormonal responses of testosterone poisoning, and you're just not really thinking with your big head. And it just causes a lot of problems. When you get a little older, it becomes a little bit less. Your frontal lobe fully develops by age 25. So you got some time to work on it. My advice would be to like really work on your discipline. So when you see people doing stupid stuff, you're disciplined to not join them. Whenever you see somebody or somebody says something to you and it pisses you off and you want to get in a fight, maybe control your emotions a little better, breathe through it, and just, see if you can control your response versus being a stupid reaction. So I would say practice discipline would be probably the hard answer on that one. Which books of yours cover mobility exercises, stretching exercises? I think it's best place for me to restart my fitness and goals. I will tell you this. If you're looking at restarting your fitness and goals, I have a whole series of programming, and it's the Tactical Fitness Over 40. And this one right here, foundation rebuilding. If you need to rebuild your foundation of fitness, that's a great one to start. And it focuses on that, adding that mobility day to your life. And you can do it a couple of days a week, even. You can do it 5 days a week if you need to. But it's life-changing, that mobility day in there. And you can Google Mobility Day Stu Smith, and you will see several articles talking about the benefits, especially for the older person who needs to loosen up their hips and lower back and, just gain some more flexibility throughout their muscles, but joints also need more mobility. It's beneficial for that, just to be a little bit more pain-free, but it's also useful for the younger guy to get better at exercises like treading. Because treading is very often an issue with knee, hip, and ankle mobility. In fact, the latest article I wrote over on Stu Smith Fitness, if you go to the articles section at StuSmithFitness.com, you'll see an article called Treading Might Be a Mobility Issue. Try these stretches and movements. And these are my favorite stretches I do with people who are failing tread tests. And it comes right out of the frog pose, appropriately titled frog pose. And there's a little combination and progression to that frog pose that's very helpful. But yeah, check those out. But all of my most recent books have mobility days in them. Whether you're spec ops level with this Navy SEAL workout, even the grinder PT, those have mobility days arranged in them smartly to help you lick your wounds and be a little more optimal with your training. I'm going to learn the CSS. So currently I am on research phase from the videos of your TikTok. I've seen that you are finning. When you are finning, you are staying more on your side. Also, the glide is still 2-3 Mississippis. Yes and no. When you fin, yes, you stay on your side. You don't want to roll over on your belly because it shortens your kick and your feet come out of the water really hard on your hamstrings when you have big fins on, when your feet come out of the water. So stay on your side so you can get in good medium-size flutter kicks in there. You don't do a big scissor kick and hold the glide with fins on. You can, but it's not very helpful when you're going against current. So I always had a strategy whenever I was swimming against the current and with the current is when I went with the current, I do a big kick and hold the glide and, pull, breathe, kick, hold the glide with little flutter kicks in between. But when I was going against the current, if you try to do any glide time, it's going to be really hard to continue moving. It almost stops you. So you want to just have constant flutter kicks whenever you are swimming against the current. So think about that as a strategy when you're swimming. There's really no 2-3 Mississippi glide thing. It's really, you just use your arms when you need to breathe. When I'm constantly finning, it's usually 1-2-3 kick, pull to breathe. 1-2-3 kick, pull to breathe. But you watch some of those videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's see, 6'8", 180. Oh, this is the 3-hour cardio guy. Pull-ups and push-ups are good. Just really want to focus on my endurance speed. Don't know how much of the right pace. Yeah, I don't think you need 3 hours a day of cardio at zone 2. My advice is maybe have 2 days a week where you do zone 2 stuff, and everything else is going to be a little bit faster. Doesn't have to be a sprint, but it needs to be faster where you're hitting that 6-minute mile for 1.5 miles and you're hitting 7-minute miles for 4-mile timed runs. And to be even better, sub 6 on the 1.5 miles, sub 7 on the 4-mile timed runs. That'll put you in good stead. Weight loss advice. I have a connection job. Workout in the morning and or evening cardio. Okay, look, I'm sorry. I have no idea what that means. Is there a question in there? I'm assuming you're looking for weight loss advice when you have a connection job. What the hell is that? Maybe you have a job that requires a commute? Is that what you're saying? Here's my thing is you work out in the morning or evening. It doesn't matter. Or both. If you want weight loss advice, do both. Eat less. Did I like G.I. Jane? It was all right. I like Demi Moore. Can you do a split in the... Can you do a split? I've been following your stretching mobility days and I got it in like 2 months. Oh, nice. I haven't tried. I used to be able to. I never could do one side to side, but I could do one right leg forward and left leg forward. I'm close. It's not comfortable, but maybe I'll try that. That's a good goal to set. Let's see. Been swimming for about 4 months now and prep for buds. That's good. 12:30 down to 9, but can't seem to break the 850 range. What would you recommend? To be honest with you, 850 is fast enough without fins. I would seriously, if you have a limited amount of time to focus on getting through buds, I would start building up your 2-mile swim with fins, right? And trying to get that in 75 minutes. But don't just jump into a big pair of scuba fins and swim 2 miles. Do your 1 mile in 32, 35 minutes. And work your way up. My advice is every leg day that you do in a week, do a fin swim. I would cap that out at 3 a week. So I am doing a podcast today, by the way. I'm going to, in another 15 minutes, I am going to have a SEAL retired Master Chief on, and we are going to talk about his journey. So it's going to be one of those shows that I do called Two Through and After. We're going to talk about his recruiting process over 20 years ago, how that looked, his buds experience, his team's experience, some of the things that he did in the teams, as well as what he's doing now. And should be an interesting program. I had him on last week with when we did the getmental.com app show. I think that was, let me see. I remember what podcast that was, but I think it was 234 maybe. Let's see. I think I'm on 234 now. Let's see here. Sorry about this. Podcast. Yeah, 235. So 234 was the Get Mental, and Steve Drum was the Master Chief on that podcast where we talked about. And he's going to be on this one, and we're just going to talk about his journey. So it should be fun. In fact, I may need to leave a little bit early. So I got enough time for maybe one more question. If you got them, send them my way. And I will answer it. In the meantime, I'll do the closing now while this last question comes in. Thanks for sticking around. If I missed your question, just email me, stu@stewsmith.com, but also check out stewsmithfitness.com for all those articles that sometimes I link in these descriptions here. But also there's a search feature on there. If you're looking for something specific, search it, or you can go to Google and put my name in it. Chances are I've written about it. Literally have over 1,000 articles online. I need to be closer to 1,500 now. But check out this coupon code here, Live15, and you'll save 15% books and ebooks, coaching programs. Looks like we got that last question came in. How do I sign up for your Heroes of Tomorrow workouts? Go to heroesoftomorrow.org and see if you can join us. I'm here in Maryland, so that's how we do it here in Maryland. There may be a few others that you can find online. Some of those guys are still helping people out today. But yeah, heroesoftomorrow.org. Would you recommend swim in the morning plus run in the afternoon, or would it be better to run at night in order to further space apart the cardio sessions? Good question. I usually run and do all my calisthenics and or lifting in the morning, and then I swim in the afternoon. And very often I swim during lunch. So if I can't get my lift done in the morning, I will lift in the afternoon as well, depending on what phase I'm in. Last question. Stefan, let's see. What is the best way to go about getting a criminal waiver? Is it a complex process? I'm at the end of my undergrad journey and debating if I should go to a master's or enlist. Well, it's only going to happen through your recruiter. So put it this way, don't even talk to a recruiter until you're ready to serve. So what I mean by that is go there crushing a PST at a minimum, right? Don't go there thinking you have time to get in shape and they'll teach you how to crush the PST. That's not true. They will test you in the PST. They're not going to get you better at the PST specifically. That's not part of their goal. You have to do this on your own, and about every 2 weeks you get to test. It's a horrible way to start your Navy career by just being a PST failure chronically. So first, crush the PST, then go talk to a recruiter about this criminal waiver process. At least when you go take the PST, you go crush it, and they say, oh, he's ready to go. He's squared away. They may work harder for you in that position. If you go there and you suck at everything, they're not going to take you seriously, and they're not going to waste their time doing the extra effort to get you a criminal waiver. So have your stuff squared away when you go to a recruiter. But that's my advice I give everybody. Right? If you go to the recruiter and you can't pass a PST, you're stupid, because you are now on their timeline, right? And you may not have enough time to go get in good shape to pass the PST, so you can't even go to BUD/S now, or you just barely pass the PST. You go through boot camp, you get in worse shape because, let's face it, Navy boot camp is not going to be challenging. And then you go to prep and you fail the PST, and your spec war career is done right there. So be able to crush this PST even on a bad day, and even after some deconditioning of boot camp. So there you go. That's my advice. From personal to more general. All right, folks, that's my last question. I got to go. Got other stuff I got to do today, but I'm glad I was able to get this live done. At least I got one done this week. We'll catch up next week, and I'll give you a synopsis on our Hell Week simulator that we did on next Monday. Until then, we'll see you later.